Good morning, everybody. It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. It is Sunday and super excited to be here with you guys hanging out. Man, there is a lot to cover. There's lots doing in the market. I'm working on my most exciting, craziest, scariest deal I've ever worked on in my entire career. Yeah, a little bit nerve-wracking, but the good news is I'll be able to share that one fairly soon. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and good seeing all of the Lumberjack Landlord course alumni here. You guys are in droves. Corby and Dividend Dave and Anna K and Redion, Landlord Odyssey. Good to have you guys. One of the things that I think that I'm hearing the most often from people is kind of a defeatist mentality, not really feeling it, looking at all the others and all the others' successes and how well everyone else is doing. And I think, the purpose of this, video isn't to talk about, inspiration or anything, right? Like I'm just kind of not that guy. I just do what I do. And if that inspires you, awesome. And if it doesn't, I don't care. But I think one of the things that I'd really like people's mindset to shift around is very often the haves have because the have-nots won't do what it takes to have. And so, I've been kind of pondering this concept because, I do a lot of trying to, following other business owners because I believe a lot of it comes down to business acumen, not just vertically based, i.e. real estate or marketing or sales or whatever. And so one of the things that I'd actually seen this week is a guy named Russell Brunson. And so Russell Brunson, his claim to fame is really understanding marketing funnels and how to get people kind of from the top of the funnel of not really understanding what you're doing to being interested and then getting all the way down to then converting to a sale. And so I had been following this guy for a couple of years, never bought any of his stuff or anything like that, but just always interested in his perspective because marketing is often, talking about us everyday people, right? Trying to understand what makes us buy. I don't even know what makes me buy sometimes, unless it's just a super good deal. But I think one of the things that in his most recent post that really kind of drove it home for me was choices. And I would always get annoyed when people would, certainly there's the silly comments, like daddy's money, like they don't have any clue. Like Christian and I both get that one a lot. Daddy's money or family money or it was an easy setup for you or any of this other silliness. But I think what I wanted to really highlight today was really people wrapping their minds around the difference between the haves and the have-nots. In most cases, the haves earned it. And in most cases, the have-nots, get this, earned it. They earned it. And so I think Russell really brought this out great in a post that he did. And I was just like, man, that is so dead on. And it's one of those things that I talk about all the time. It's really funny when we're going through this process and there's so much angst with a tenant and we're evicting them. And then I show up and they've got a flat screen TV and they've got, a gaming system and 15 games and they're wearing really nice, Air Jordans. I'm sorry, what? And their car is newer than mine. Like these are the kinds of things that go through my mind. So I think Russell did a really good job where, he really kind of laid it out. And so I want to take you through just this post real quickly. And it was, start a business, $999. But for so many people, that concept is like, I'd never spend $1,000 to start a business. Buy a new iPhone, $999, no problem. I'll buy that. I'll buy the $999 iPhone. Healthy groceries, right? For those people that are just like, well, I can't afford to eat healthy. Okay, yeah, I get it. It's expensive. It definitely is. Healthy groceries, $100 more than unhealthy groceries, $100. So, well, that's just too much. Dinner and dessert, $100, no problem. I see that all the time. I see people, when I review people's finances, I see all the time that they have no problem dropping a hundo going out to eat. And you could have had a week's worth of healthy food upgraded from your existing budget for that extra $100. So it's not that you can't eat healthy. It's that you're choosing to spend the money elsewhere. Another one was watch Netflix for 2 hours, binge on something, learn a new skill, 2 hours. No, I don't have time for that. One of the things that I love about our community here on Sunday mornings is you guys are all here because that last one to you isn't a thing. That last one to you is you're not watching the next 2 hours of Netflix. Maybe you'll squeeze that in tonight when you're doing your real estate homework. But more importantly is you're investing time this morning. I try and make it entertaining and fun, but I know that you're really here for the knowledge and the stories that I have to share based on you're smart and you don't want to have to learn that expensive lesson yourself. So the challenging thing here is that there are 23 people just a couple minutes into the live stream watching, and you guys are getting better. Every hour that you watch of content for real estate that's trying to get you better at your game, that's investing. You're investing in yourselves. You're investing in your future. That's why I made the course that I made, was because I believe that there was no better investment that somebody could make than an investment that they could make in themselves based on my 21-year journey and what I did. So I would encourage you to take a look at the syllabus, see if you want to be in real estate investing. And if you do, I'd appreciate you considering me because I make a pretty good living at it. And I'm elite at a lot of things in that vertical. And there's no doubt in my mind that I have a far greater control, even though control is kind of an illusion. I have far greater control over my future than most others do. And it's because I skilled up. It's just like being in the gym. There's people that want to spend that, 5 hours a week, 6 hours a week in the gym. Guess what? There's very high likelihood that they're going to be healthier than the person that doesn't. Very high likelihood. It's the same thing with real estate investing. None of this stuff happens by mistake. These are all choices that we get to make. So I just want to encourage you all. You guys are doing the right thing. You guys are investing in yourselves. You guys are investing in a skill set. You guys are investing in creating wealth in the future. And don't pay any mind to the people that pick the new iPhone instead of opening up a new business, or picking the healthy groceries or not picking the healthy groceries. And they rather go out and eat out once that week at a dinner with some drinks and dessert. And then lastly, the people that invest that time in Netflix. I get it that you have to have some downtime, but let's be honest. I get downtime too. A lot of times I have my laptop on my lap. I do, because I can multitask. And so I'll have something on in the background. And while I've heard a lot of what's on Netflix, I haven't seen a lot of what's on Netflix. That's why I love hockey. I get to watch a lot of hockey or hear a lot of hockey, and I still get to work. And so I like to multitask. But these investments that you're making, you're all making these investments in yourselves. And I think that that's really important because you want to provide your family a better future. You want to provide yourself a better future. And I think that that's awesome. And so I'm excited to be here with you guys every Sunday morning as I am. If you're contemplating this, watch a bunch of free content. But then if you think you want to take the plunge, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that there's courses out there that will absolutely help you implement processes and systems that will help you change your life's trajectory when it comes to wealth. So, as I always say, we try and create great content for you here. Please make sure that you subscribe. But we're going to jump into the comments now because I need to get to my people that need answers to questions. Dividend Dave, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I recently closed on a house that turned out to be haunted. Tried to unlock the front door, but the locksmith said I could only open it with a spooky. Thank you for the dad joke, Dave. I was like, sounds to me like somebody's looking, somebody can get a decent return on that. Corby Carter, good morning. Dividend Dave, good morning. Corby Carter again. Yes. Dividend Dave. See, I don't have to start over, Dave. This is perfect. Good morning, Anna. Good morning. Richard Gamino. Great morning and good morning. Good morning, sir. Landlord Odyssey. Good morning, guys. Great to be here like always. Thanks, Reddion. Good to have you here. Reddion's a machine right now. He came out of that course like a bullet out of a gun. During the course, he buys one. Now that the course is over, he's bought a third one. Still rehabbing the first one. Absolutely crushing it. I mean, damn. It's turned into my competition in New Hampshire. What did I do? I created a monster. Just kidding. Reddion's crushing it. I love that he's doing what he's doing. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I've got guys in the field. Okay, cool. I got guys in the field as always on Sunday. Those are my field hustlers. No. Sorry. So yeah, we got guys in the field doing work today. We got units that we're trying to get back on the market. I will have, I got a video coming out this week. I want you guys to watch out for it. It's talking about how I'm creating 30% returns. Yeah, no joke, 30% returns. I lay it all out for you, strategy, approach, the whole 9 yards. I lay it out for you in that video. Here's how I'm getting 30% returns. No joke. Anna K, good morning. Yes, I was already there, but I don't mind saying good morning to Anna K twice. She's that nice. Corby Carter, I have a question. I'm adding lighting to my living room. Got it. The current can lights, not pancake LEDs. Yep. Have a hole too big for the new pancake LEDs. About the same location. Do I just patch and send? No. So what you can do is look for retrofit. Look for retrofit LEDs. They take advantage of the existing can that you have, but they actually have like a light socket on the end of them, and that light socket translates into the LED light. So they make those. They're a little bit more expensive. You can expect to pay between $12 to $15, right around there. But you screw those into the existing can lights, and then you've essentially converted that can to an LED. Because that light is still LED. It still only uses as much electricity as an LED. The only difference is that instead of having to, you don't want to rip out the cans, you can literally use the retrofit piece. Worth its weight in gold. Let me know how that goes, Corby. I think you'll love the solution because it drastically reduces the cost of having to do that project and you still get the great result. The only thing I would still be looking for is 5,000 lumen. I would still be looking for 5,000 lumen lights at least, if not 6,000. The reason I choose 5,000 lumen is because it's most like sunlight. So it's the least aggressive on the eyes. So for example, if you have a tenant that might be prone to migraines or headaches or things like that, or just generally, getting tired if it's in your unit, one of the things that will help is actually using the appropriate lighting setup. And that typically you want to be around that 5,000 lumen. That's the most like sunlight. And thus the least tiring for your eyes. Yeah, it's true. But again, yeah, LED, I would use the retrofits. In fact, give me just 1 second here, Corby. We're going to do this live because that's what we do. Retrofit. LED. Are they Corby, are they 4-inch or 6-inch, my man? And Corby, I'll wait for you, my dude. While I'm waiting on that answer, because I think I found them. Yeah, the retrofit LEDs. Yeah, that's what they're called. Get the dimmable retrofit. Hold on. Yeah, the ultra thin flats. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Sunco's got a good 6-inch. Yeah. So just look on Amazon, Corby. Sunco's got a good product. The one that you want to be looking for is the one that actually has like the end of a like a light bulb on it. And because that you literally just take it, you screw it in. And then after you screw it in, there's arms that you push in like this, and those arms you bring in, and then you just get them anchored up there in the light. And then you can just slide it up, and that's what those pressure fit against the walls of the can. And then that thing will never come down. Let me know how it goes. I know that will crush it for you. But yeah, there's There's ones on there. Amico's, it's an all right brand. I personally, I like Sunco the most. And Sunco does make those retrofit ones, but the Amicos aren't bad either. Yeah, actually, yeah. So you can get the Halos too. Halos are nice. Halos are kind of like the standard, but they're the most expensive. Halos are usually about $15 a piece. But yeah, you can get just make sure they're 5,000 lumen. That's what you really want to make sure. But let me know how that goes, my man. The Sunco retrofits, yeah, 3,000. Yeah, look for the 5,000 lumen. Yeah, Sunco LED recessed lighting dimmable 5,000K retrofits. Yep, they're right there. Yeah, they're on there. Sunco LED recessed lighting, 6-inch, 12 packs selectable up to 5,000. Yep. Up to 5,000. It's a dimmable recessed light, dimmable can, retrofit installation. Yeah, perfect. Those are perfect. Yep. Those are the ones that you want. They make them 4 and 6-inch. $60. Wow, those have come down a lot. $60 for a 12 pack. There you go. Crush it, my dude. Crush it, my dude. There you go. Let's see here. Bobby Simpson, good morning. Good to have you, Bobby. Laura, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Buzztune. Consuming that content, my man. I love it. Wealth building journey. Good morning, Chester. Jason Ferrier, an easy setup for you at Sunday before a holiday. 99% of people are on their couch or wasting time. Where are we? Boom. Jason, that's exactly it, my dude. It's exactly it. Like, it's raining here this morning. I got back from breakfast. I took my family to breakfast. It's raining. It's in the 60s. Like, could you scream, lay on the couch and do nothing any louder? Yeah, but you guys I knew would be here. I had to be here. We're here to talk real estate and get wealthy together. But yeah, exactly. So true. John, Texas. Good morning, Lumberjack. I'm replacing some flooring in a new purchase. Yep, this is a topic you've covered a lot. Yeah, sure. But can you go over the differences between LVP and LVT tile plank? Yeah, sure. Durability, pricing. So it depends. It depends on, there's a lot of different conversations about that. I don't like the tile can come in a flexible feel. I don't like that. I don't like that stuff at all. Because up here in the Northeast, you really are subject to wavy floors. You just are. The buildings are 120, 150 years old. You know, it's tough. So what I'm trying to do, if I've got kind of a tough floor, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a higher level of rigidity, and we'll also use filler. We'll also use filler for sure. And bring up the levels of floors. We have one place that we just redid. We made it as level as we possibly could. And we still had the difference between the front of the unit and the back of the unit, which is like 40 feet. There was like a 2-inch difference in the floors between that span. Sometimes we have that over a 12-foot span. So me personally, John, I'm always looking at what the application of it is. And it's hard to tell you exactly what to do, but I would tell you that luxury vinyl plank, I actually like that. I like the rigidity. I also prefer to buy commercial grade product over residential grade product. Commercial grade product is rated for 30 years in a residential application. Now, the challenging thing is that company even going to be around to replace it if it fails? Likely, if it's going to fail, it's got to fail in the first few years. Otherwise, who knows where that company is? But again, me personally, the tile pieces, if that tile is the flexi stuff, don't like it. In fact, because that's the issue, is some vendors call that LVT. Let me just see. Yeah, the peel and stick. Yeah. Yep. Don't like that stuff. Not a fan. Not a fan. Let's see if this is different stuff. Yeah, it depends. The stuff that I used, and I just want to give you accurate feedback. The stuff that I used years ago, the stuff that I used years ago was flexible. I didn't like that product. I think we used it once or twice. And we stopped using it. And subsequently we had to replace those floors. So that's the feedback that I would give you. The LVP, the commercial stuff with the thicker wear layer, they also has like real rigidity. The other thing you can do too is you can take your thumb and try and snap off one of the edges. If you can snap off one of the edges on the cheaper stuff, you can. Like we bought, this was before I knew, I bought a bunch of that stuff from one of the big box stores. Was outrageously priced. It was like $2.99 marked down to 69 cents. I was like, yep, I'll take it all. And then we started using it. And then within a year, no joke, within a year, we had broken pieces. They had it was definitely something in the manufacturing process, or it was just poorly made, but we could snap those edges. And that was no es bueno. So yeah, so that's what I would tell you about that stuff. And again, it's been years since I've gone back and visited that stuff. So I haven't looked at it recently, but durability and pricing on the commercial grade, LVP. Yeah. I mean, I buy it. This is one of the things I teach in my course, have a trust, have some business name, even if it's not an LLC, but have a trust name or something that gives you an EIN that you can then give to a company so you can buy it wholesale. I don't buy a ton of some things, but because I've just done a little bit of paperwork, guess what? I have an EIN. So I use that EIN to buy material at cost or wholesale price. I save 50 to 70 cents a foot. Well, this year already, we've done 6,000, 7,000 square feet of flooring at, instead of 3.25 a foot, 250, 248, I think 248. Yeah. 325 times 6,000 is 19. So we spent 20,000. It's June to July. We've spent 20,000 bucks already on that stuff. So we're 19.5 minus 19.5, and we did 6,000 times 2.48. Yeah, 19.5 minus 14,880. So 4,620 bucks. And that's just for taking the time to make an EIN. And that's how much I've saved this year. And again, we do that stuff in the trust. Very straightforward to do. Talk to your accountant on how to set one up. You can even set up your own LLC. And again, it doesn't have to be running the business through an LLC, but that can be your purchasing arm. But again, any of those strategies, I'm not a CPA. I just do it, and my CPA and my EA, Bob Langworthy, most amazing EA in the world, who I recommend to everybody because he's made me that happy to do my taxes every year. But that's the stuff that, we kind of go through, and he says, yeah, this is how we should structure that. Laura San Diego. Oh, I'm sorry if you're sick, if that's what I'm getting from that. The course is absolutely recommended. And I'm not one of those guys that buys online courses and never open them. Literally the only course I bought. I appreciate that, Ready On. I mean, dude, he's crushing it. I mean, to be a part of these people's journey, to be a part of Anna Kay's journey and Corby's and Dividend Dave's and Ready On's and just John, I mean, just all these people's journey, to be a part of it is just awesome. And I love seeing the stuff, the horrible lessons that cost me tens of thousands of dollars to learn. I love seeing them avoid them. I'm just like, this is the best. Landlord Odyssey. I deleted my Netflix account and my TV is also disconnected. Yeah, not the worst idea. The wealth building journey. Thank you, Devin and Dave. Yep, good. Corby Carter, the course and boot camp are well worth it. Great value. Thank you, Corby. I appreciate that. Wealth building journey. Matt, have to tell you, I'm going to recommend the 80-20 principle as required reading for newbie investors for understanding background to investing. It's as powerful as Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I don't read books. I don't even really listen to them. Just don't. I just don't. And that was probably one of the mistakes that I made in the beginning part of my journey, but I learned a lot of stuff, and a lot of that stuff couldn't have been found in a book. I find very often that people that do the book thing often overanalyze. And for me, it is admittedly, it's, ready, fire, aim sometimes. And that's what I have to do to slow myself down to take more calculated steps. And that's where I've excelled over the last decade, is getting much better at that process. Yes, Laura, get well soon. Get well soon. Good morning, wise bearded one. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, wise. I mean, I guess some days on some stuff, not on everything. How much did you spend painting that wood siding house you have on Instagram? Wood siding house I have on Instagram. Let me double check. Wood siding house I have on Instagram. I didn't. I don't know which wood house it is. That one's vinyl. That one's vinyl. That one's vinyl. I don't know is the answer. We don't usually paint, Angel. I don't usually paint houses. I will paint them, but even if it's like an ugly vinyl, I'll change the color. And then I have a setup that I use for that. So Angel, let me know which date it's on or where it is, or and I will take a look and I'll tell you. Corby Carter, awesome. Many thanks. You're welcome, Corby. Let me know how it goes. I think you're going to love those things. Like I said, I probably just saved you $1,500 worth of electrical work and patching and kind of bullsh. But those retrofits, they're money. They're good. Just make sure you get the demo ones and that they're 5,000 lumens. Corby, yep, 6-inch those. Yep. Good morning, dishes every day. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. That reminds me. Simon had a fantastic, he did a cool video on nickel and lithium, where I find it interesting, right? Like lithium is the buzz and the buzz and the buzz, and everybody talks about lithium and the more powerful batteries and blah, blah, blah. And most people haven't realized that they're actually more nickel than they are lithium. So I always love that. I always love learning from Simon on that stuff. And then just all of what he's talking about too, as far as the dollar. So, really heady stuff, but he does such an amazing job at explaining it. And one of the things that's always challenging for me is that, what happens if it happens, right? Like, and that it is like the big this, the big that, the whatever, World War III, whatever. Well, I think at the end of the day, one of the things that very often people have to understand, and here's my strategy, and I'm not saying adopt it, but here's my strategy. I don't have to outrun the bear. I only have to outrun you. That's it. And so when you look at it, it's really level of preparedness, not to be able to weather anything. It's the level of preparedness where you're able to weather it far more than the next guy, right? I just had a morbid thought, so I'm not going to say it. It's too aggressive. And I like spending Saturday mornings with you guys. But long story short is I don't have to outrun the bear. I only got to outrun you. And that might seem like a funny joke from a fat white guy like me. Fat white bearded guy. I've got no speed whatsoever, but the business is prepared to weather a lot of storm, you know, whether it's capital reserve, diversification of portfolio, I mean, it's got a lot. There's a lot in there layered. That's what we talk a lot about in the course is how we layer our portfolios. That's always a big difference maker. So yeah, always check out Simon. He does a lot of content. And they're usually like 8 to 12 minutes. And so it's great for me. But yeah, and his live streams are fantastic, but he really grasps the concept of the economy. And it's very interesting because he's not a conspiracy theorist, but he shows the different pieces. And then, you know, as he always says, you let me know. And so, yeah, I dig him. He's great YouTuber. Definitely one of the most I watch. Dan Caruso. How do you compare a 8 or 10 unit versus a 4? Good question. Really good question. Would you ever prioritize more unit count over cash on cash return, assuming neighborhood and condition are similar? Dan, that's an excellent question. Me personally, I know, so this is one thing that Mike Zuber and I differ on. He would take a single family unit with a 12% return over a duplex with a 9% return. I wouldn't. I want the better asset and the one that, and anytime you have more units under 4 with fixed rate 30-year debt, that's the best asset in my eyes. The reason why anything more than 4, and you can go to 5 on a VA, you can get up to 8 on some DSCR loans. But what I really like is I really like those smaller assets, 2, 3s, and 4s, because everyday Joes can buy them. The 2 units, the duplexes, it's the same type of debt that you can get on a single family. That's what Fannie and Freddie show. So for me, again, my strategy is always looking at where is there untapped value. That's what I'm elite at. And that's why I was buying duplexes, tris, and quads in my area. And people were like, it's just another apartment building. They're not all created equal. So to your point of 8 or 10 versus a 4, I look at what the return is, but I also look at what is my debt on that asset, right? The debt is the driver for me. You know, if you can get a 10 unit with 30 years seller financing with no balloon payment and a 4.5% rate, yeah, that's freaking awesome. You know, so then it really comes the deal. So I think it's a combination of looking at the deal, but as far as the asset itself goes, one of the things that you'll see often is that there's a lot more people that can buy a 4 than can buy a 10. There's a lot more, at least in my market. In my market, when a 4 unit goes to market, the crazy thing is for years, 4 units in my market were 400,000, 450, 500. They were about 100 and a quarter a door. And in the last year and a half, guess what? Even though the market's gone up, those haven't gone up. They've gone insane because of what the rents did. And that lower density housing is more desirable because it's not commercial debt that will reset in 3, 5, 7, 10 years. It's also something that a lot more people can buy. And for the bigger guys kind of don't give two you-know-whats about a 6 unit or an 8 unit. They don't care. They're looking for 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Most of the guys that I'm with, they laugh at me when I buy 3s and 4s. They laugh. You know, they laugh. Of course, none of them actually own their businesses, but they laugh. Totally good with that. Because now my duplexes that I was buying for 180, 200, 220, 250K, they're worth 600 grand, 700 grand. Just saying. And their bigger buildings, they've gone up a lot, but they haven't quadrupled. They haven't tripled. They've doubled. Some of them have doubled in some of the areas. So that's a great question, Dan. So for me, it's really looking at the asset. What kind of debt can I get on the asset? And then what the long-term goal is. You know, I really like 4-unit properties, 4 and smaller, because as housing continues to become less affordable, that's more what people are going to be buying. And they're just going to say, hey, you know what? I went from an apartment and now I still have an apartment, but now I at least own it and I'm a landlord and I have 3 people paying me. And so I live here for pretty much nothing. Can you do that on an 8-unit? You can, but it's a lot harder to do it because again, it's debt structure. Debt structure is the biggest challenge. Is the cost of the debt's important, but the structure of it is just as challenging. That's where, you know, guys like Cody and Christian, you know, Christian and I talk probably every couple of weeks, and great investor. And they like buying bigger stuff. They like buying, and when they can get the type of deals and they're putting together the type of contracts that they are, where it's like, hey, we're getting 5% debt, you know, with 0 down. And are they paying a little bit more for the asset? Sure, that's fine. But 0 down with 5% debt and a 10-year arm. Yeah, like that's great debt. So it really comes down to a combination of the asset and how you can, and the debt, the asset and the debt structure is really the biggest thing. Hopefully that helps you, Dan. Let me know below and I'm happy to answer further. Dishes every day. Everyone hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Angel R. Matt, do you think attractive landscaping like hedges and bushes is worth the extra maintenance? They don't increase my rent income, but they do enhance the aesthetics. No. Yeah, I don't think so. Not for me. What I want to do is I want something out there that's really easy to take care of. So what I'm typically doing is if I need to do something for that type of aesthetic, what I'm doing is I typically know what my market is, know what my area is, and know what type of bush or what type of plant I should be putting there. Because what I want is low to no maintenance. Hey, it's the end of the season. We cut off the tops and that way the green shoots will come up in the springtime. Outside of that, I'm not spending a bunch of other money out there, because to that point, it's like you can have a nice enough unit, and a lot, like they're not going to want to maintain that. I don't want to pay to maintain that. And if they really want it, like I have some people with green thumbs and they're like, hey, would you mind if I put some flowers in the flower bed? Not at all. Nope, not at all. Not at all. Go for it. Have a blast. So yeah, for me, I think that's the right calculus, Angel. That's how I would evaluate it for sure. I agree with you. Richard Camino, my brother-in-law just replaced his can lights with those. Loving it. Awesome. That's great feedback, Richard. Yeah, those things are awesome. We've had a number of properties where we've seen that they have can lights. The idea is always leverage what's there existing and find a way to deliver the great result based on what's there existing. That's always the goal. The goal isn't always, and this is one of the big sections of the course I talk a lot about, which is don't just gut it. There's a lot of people that go in, they're just like, I'm just going to gut it. No, don't just gut it. There's a lot there that you can work with sometimes, a lot. Guys, I got to say, so that just kind of popped something in my mind. The 2 projects that I'm working on are almost finally done. One of them is almost done, should be done this coming week, which is a 4-unit downtown area. That project has been really, really hard because we bought that right around when my daughter got sick. And so it has been an 18-month project, which is the longest project I've ever had in my career. And it still will make a ton of money, but it's been a rough go. But I can't wait to share that with you guys because we're going to walk through it. I'm going to do a live stream where I walk through that property and show you exactly what that stuff looks like. It's nothing I'm going to charge any extra money for. I'm going to try and figure out how I can do it from my phone so we can do it remotely. Landlord Odyssey, what HVLP gun do you recommend for trim cabinets molding? I already have an air compressor. So I have a, there's a Graco one that's pretty good. What are you doing with it again? You're doing trim cabinets and molding. There's that new Graco one that is the nuts. It's like $1,500. But it's like a belt one and it sits right on your belt. And if you're going to be doing a lot of that stuff, ready on, that's a killer tool. The big one that I have is a real big one, but here's a tip. They're about 2,500 to 3,000 bucks brand new for the high end ones that I use. Here's the thing. I don't pay anywhere near that. What do? You can actually look at your local Home Depots, and usually on Tuesdays is when they put out the stuff. Once it's been there for a certain amount of time, or it's rented a certain amount of times, they then put it out for sale, but they always bring it back. They clean it. They take care of it. Most of that stuff is in pretty good shape. I actually saw one, and there were 3 of them there, and they were able to look up in the system like, yeah, that one's been rented 110 times. This one's been rented 80 times. I bought one that had been rented 34 times. 34 times. That'd been used 34 times. It's like a $3,000 sprayer. I bought it from the Home Depot tool department. I bought it for like 800 bucks or 700 bucks. And we've used that thing, man, 15, 20 times at least. And so what you're looking for the HVLP is you're looking for a tip. So what you want to do is you want to do your research based on what you buy, and you want to make sure that you're getting an HVLP tip. The compressor thing is okay, ready on. The thing that you really need to be concerned about is moisture. Moisture from the compressor getting into the lines, then that screws up your paint and blah, 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 blah. I highly recommend, if you're going to be doing any of that on a regular basis, that new Graco one. I have not bought it yet, but we are probably going to buy it just because it's so easy and so compact. But we use a normal big paint sprayer with you just stick the 5-gallon bucket underneath it. And then we just go in and we just spray. And then it's just a matter of, the tip selection, what tip we're going to use, based on the work that we do. So yeah, well worth it. Laura Samaniego, the wealth building journey, Dividend Dave. Thanks. One of my tenants is breaking the lease, moving out of state for a better job. Happy for them. Good tenants. Wish them the best. Yeah, that's always tough. We actually got notification this morning that one of our tenants was going to be leaving. They didn't even tell us they were leaving. They're just like, yeah, we decided not to renew. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I mean, it's a unit that will rent out in 5 milliseconds. They pay $1,500 a rent. I think rents are now $1,650 in those units. But we'll get that unit back. We'll rehab that unit because I had just bought that building. I hadn't had a chance to rehab that unit yet. So now I'll get a chance to rehab that unit. And it won't be too crazy. Corby Carter, thanks again for the super chat. Paul Kastner, E37 panel LEDs are great. Yeah, they fit usual, Leviton ceramic fixtures that cost less than $10, and the light is flexible. Yeah, I've used those a little bit. I still like those. Like when you already have the can there, I want to use the retrofits. If I don't, I still do really just like doing what I call the pancake lights. I really like doing those. Because I can buy them for, $7 or $8 per, and it's usually a few hours of an electrician coming off of junctioning off of a, one central light. And it completely changes the dynamic of the room. And you can do that for, like I said, a few $100. Angel R, some experts are recommending tile if you plan on keeping the property long-term. Yeah. The only thing that I don't like about tile, like if you're talking like an Angel, let me know if you're talking about real tile or the LVP stuff. Let me know if you're talking about the real tile stuff, because the real tile stuff, no, nope. Depending on the climate, right? Up here in the Northeast, tile is freezing in the wintertime. It is cold all the time. And a lot of people don't like that. So then they have to put area rugs. And area rugs, in case you guys haven't seen, if you buy a decent area rug, they're expensive. You could spend $500 to $1,000 on a decent area rug. Even a cheapie's $200 or $300. So yeah. And tile work truly depends on the region that you're in. Tile work out in Vegas was like $4 a foot, $4 and $5 a foot. Here, it's like 10 or 12. It's double the price, plus everything else that's more expensive. So you can be literally looking at $20 a square foot by the time you look at tile, mortar, insulation, hardy backer board. I mean, you can be looking at $20 a foot. Yeah, no thanks. And it's not even the most desirable flooring. So yeah. Let's see. What benefits does having an LLC have on lending? None. It actually has a negative. You're going to pay a higher rate. That's been my experience. Could be wrong, but that's been my experience. When we have an LLC, we don't use it to buy anything in. We buy in the trust. And the LLC will make it more expensive to borrow. Yeah. That's been my experience anyway. Double check with an accountant. BuzzTune, what's a good amount of reserves to have for one property? Big ticket items, fairly new. Thanks. Yeah, no, it's a good question. The thing that you want to look at is creating reserves, right? That's what you want to look at. And so in the very beginning, we might set aside 10% on a property, but so when you're first starting out, it's that 10% because you might have a water heater go or a roof go. And if you have a roof go in the first couple of years, yeah, I mean, you're underwater in a single family house. You could be underwater for 3 years or 4 years. That's how bad that is. But that's why you got to make sure that you're doing inspections. And if it's a roof issue, hopefully it's something that can be repaired, not replacing the entire roof. So there's not a precise amount. There really is, especially when you're in the beginning. The idea is you want the tenants paying for those types of things over time. So that's why you have to just, if you set aside 10% maintenance in the beginning, we used to do that. However, what does that do? It slows down your growth. It also reduces your risk. But the most important thing is that eventually you get to a size where you look at it and you say, you know what, our maintenance is like 3.5%. I'm not carrying 10%. Guess what? The bank wants you to carry 10%. That's what they're figuring. When you're working with a bank, they're figuring the 10% maintenance cost. Right? Like that impacts a lot of deals, 10%. So that's one of the things that we look at. We look at it and we say, one of the ways that we make a lot more profit is that we're not taking out 10% maintenance on our assets anymore. We're really honest about that. We tell everybody because we take out last year, we look at it across the board and we're like, okay, this was the maintenance portion of things. All right. That was like 3.5% of our expenses or 3.5% of our, of our gross rents went to maintenance, 3.5%. But again, that's maintenance. That's why we look at that. So we carry that 3.5%, 4% number because it's based on facts. Because the first thing the bank is going to say was, well, you need to be carrying 10%. We can argue that point because we have a historical average of under 5 over a 5-year period. So we can argue that. So that allows us to push the limits a little bit on what we might be asking for a loan on a given property. But that's the way to do it. In the very beginning, it's 10% because you want to be conservative. You want to always make sure you have more than enough. That's what, and does it slow you down? Yeah, it absolutely slows you down. Slows you down 100%. The first 5 years of real estate investing are tough, but the next 5 are a lot easier. And the next 5, oh my word, the next 5, it gets ridiculous for sure. For sure. I have a story I'll be sharing with you guys next week. Actually, I'll only share it in the course. It's not for public consumption. I will only share it in the course. So if you guys are in the course, please remind me, hey, Matt, don't forget to do a video on that story. It was an extremely aggressive tenant reaction. And we had to have some conversation. And so I want to take you guys through that because I'm an open book to the folks that are in the course because I want them to see how to handle that same situation. JNYC. Morning, Matt. Morning, everybody. Good to have you here. Don, there he is. Forget trial and error. Matt has done the hard part. Yeah, you just have to follow the recipe. When I started in RE, you bought a course of theory and that is it. I wish I would have had this opportunity. Don, I really appreciate that. And that's one of the things where it's really interesting that Don says that because yeah, in the 90s, late 90s, I was still a little too young, teenager. In the early 2000s, he's exactly right. Everything was about theory. It was theory. It was, well, if you do this, it should look like this, and it can be that, and it could be this, right? And that's all. It was all theory based. We don't do theory. We do, this is what we did. This is how we make money. This is how you will save. These are the processes. These are the systems. And here is all the awesome documentation that I've created to do anything that you need to do as a landlord. It is lease violation stuff. It is, tenant correction stuff, working with a city, just everything. And so Don, I really appreciate that, because this is not theory. This is practically this is how I run my business in a practical fashion. And good morning to you, Don. Who is that YouTuber you just mentioned? Uneducated Economist. Simon, the Uneducated Economist. You got to watch his stuff. He's fantastic. He is, even at real estate. No, I think at real estate, I'm probably as elite as he is at economics, and explaining it to me. For me, I'm a smart enough guy, George Gammon and those guys are great. And Jason Hartman, he's great. And those guys are really strong. Lynn, I always forget Lynn's last name. She knows who she is. She's phenomenal. But yeah, hot damn. Peter Schiff. Yeah. Schiff, I can give or take sometimes. Some stuff I totally agree with. Some stuff I'm just like, no, you're a loon. That's crazy. But a lot of stuff is really good. But Simon just does such a good job of boiling that down for the people that like us that still show up for work every single day. He's just awesome. Financial firefighter Mark Oshiro. Good to have you here, Mark. REI Stoners, good morning. Do you shop at Home Depot for your rental needs? Not really. Saw some teak wood butcher block countertops that look great and not expensive. Very cool. So to that end, that's a great comment. Great comment. There is some stuff that I will buy there. Not a ton of stuff. Not a ton of stuff. You'll find a lot of times it's lower quality. It just is. And the key there is, again, in the course, I teach you how to buy stuff, because that's how I save so much money on my flips or on my projects, not my flip projects, but my actual projects where I redo a unit. I have a guy, we were looking at the same property. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of me and mine. We were looking at the same property, and he ended up winning it. This was probably 4 years ago. He ended up winning the property. And so I know what I had for a budget. My budget was about $92,000. And we kind of know all the same stuff that has to happen. So I asked him, I said, hey, what did you budget? He goes, 108. I was like, okay. I was like, take me through it. Can you just take me through it? He's like, yeah, sure. Takes me through it. Legit 108. Like I said, mine was like 92, $16,000. Do you know what the difference was throughout the entire proposal? Acquisition of material. Acquisition of material. That was the difference. Was I buying superior? Was I buying bad material? Nope. Nope. They make no effort to pre-order and create orders and shop for deals. I do that. Well, that would have saved me $16,000 on that deal. And that's all of the bottom line. To make 16, you got to gross like 30. That's a lot of money. So that $16,000 was real money that I saved. And again, this is a big difference. This is what we talk about in the Lumberjack Landlord course, is when you start to scale, you absolutely should be buying this way. You absolutely should be buying this way. Hey guys, I believe in this so much. I bought a cabinet distributorship. That's how much I believe in it, because I looked at it and I was like, you know what? We've got like a couple dozen kitchens that we're going to do in the next 24 months. We've got people in the course that I want to be able to help out in their journey. Yeah, we're going to go forward and we're going to get this. We're going to invest that money. Now, maybe in 5 years, it's dead, maybe, who knows? But looking at what it was going to cost me and the money it was going to cost me on those kitchens, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of a no-brainer. I just had to know, we only targeted 2 products because we would only do that with a product that we knew. And so the people that are in the boot camp, they will get access to those cabinets, where finishing setting it up now. We had a little blip on the radar screen last 2 weeks, but now we're past that blip. So we have a professional designer now. If you're in the boot camp, 99 bucks, they'll design your kitchen for you based on the measurements. You get a 3D rendering, you get a blueprint for install. You get my designs, and you get a price list, and you get to see exactly what the price is. When we can drop ship it to you, and then you can have whoever you want as a carpenter install them. I'm anxiously awaiting the feedback, but I believe we're going to be able to deliver stuff for half price. That's what I believe. So we'll see. We shall see. How do you charge tenants for septic use? Never found a way to do that. Actually, there's a model called PPS. Paper shit. Just kidding. Just kidding. Saw the opportunity. Yeah, no way to really do that. You can do, because the only way that you can do it, so I guess there is a way. You could, on each unit, you could have the water in, water out thing. So the way that they do it, they don't really charge you for your sewer. You get charged for it, but it's based on how much water you used. That's why if there was some leak, you can usually go fight your town on it and say, you guys didn't flush this much water. We didn't put that much water into the system. We only put this much because there was a leak and it filled my basement with 50,000 gallons of water. So I want that number changed. And you can usually fight them and win that. But yeah, so the only way that you can really do it is if you track and you put on the line that goes to their unit versus another unit, if you track how much water they have going in, and then if you have it pumped once a year or every 2 years, whenever that tenant is, at that point, you're probably pumping it once a year. It's a sticky situation, pardon the pun. But then you would just say, if they used 60 units of water and you used 40 units of water and the pumping was, $1,000, then they would pay $600 and you would pay $400. That you could do that. But on septic, that's the tough part for sure. That's the tough part. Laura San Diego. Yeah, LGL, thanks. You're welcome. I hope you feel better. I need to replace a tenant. The comparable in my area is $200 above what it was 7 months ago. Love it. And I placed the tenant. House authority in my area is 220 more for 2-1. Awesome, right? You'd even go over, if you weren't sick, you'd be over there helping them pack, right, Laura? And this is the thing. It's like, guys, watch the video that I did on Section 8 rents. They're going to go up for 3 more years. 3 more years. In the next 3 years, I think 3 to 4 years from now, they will be at market or above in some markets. They will be the ones setting the market because of how they calculate it. No joke. REI Stern has been watching LVP install videos to see if I can do it and save money. Bad decision? No, not a bad decision at all. You absolutely can. Yep. You absolutely can. One of the things that you can also do is outside the box. You could also have a guy come in and ask him to lay the field. You could just say, can you just come in here and lay the field for me? And what that basically does is he gets, or she gets 2 or 3 rows in place, and then you just build off of that stuff. The one thing that you shouldn't be doing is you should not be notching your flooring around any trim work. You should be flush cutting your flooring and sliding under. That's the right and professional way to do it. If it's a long piece of baseboard, maybe then you could do like a piece of quarter round, small piece of quarter round, maybe. But again, not a have to type of thing. But what I would do is I would have somebody come in and just say, listen, I want to get your number on the job, but I want to do one of 2 things. One is I'd like to get your number on the job. 2 is, if for some reason I can't afford it, would you be willing to at least get me started? And then I'll do all the rest of the work. No joke. No joke. Yeah, see my farmer stand? Sorry. No one wants to look at that. Sorry. We're not that kind of channel. So I don't think that's a bad idea at REI Stoners. I guess who did a ton of I did the Pergo. I did a ton of Pergo. I won't do it anymore. It's a lot on your shoulders and your knees, but you can do it. And it's good to have that experience too, because you know exactly how much work it is. And then imagine that the people do that every single day. Guess how good they get at it. Like they get really good at it. Do, 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 do. Landlord Rossi. Oh man, I'm so excited for that infield live stream. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I have an idea actually. Ready on. I'm sending you something. All right, I sent you something. Ready on. Matt Bittner, I'm sorry. Yep. Yeah. Matt Bittner, how high do the days on market need to be before you make an insulting offer? Let me check the one that I just made an insulting offer on. Let's see. It has been on. It's been on. Come on. $69 days. 69 days. We made that at probably we made that at probably 63 days, 64 days, right around there. Yep. And I mean, worst they can say is no. And we just give them a justification. We're like, listen, we're not trying to lowball you. We're giving you the number that makes sense for us to do this deal. And here's why. And then we'll make sure that it's things that are reasonable, things that are, you can just lob a number over, but it has no substance with it. So I like to put substance with the deal. In fact, I am going to walk you through that next deal that I'm working on. The biggest, best, craziest, most amazing deal I've ever done scares the crap out of me. But we won that deal with a proven strategy. And I am going to share that strategy and how we won that deal after we close. I think we close in 2 weeks. But I'm going to share that strategy. And that strategy crushed. There were multiple offers on that asset. And guys, when you see what this deal is, it is going to blow your ever loving minds. I can't believe that I did this deal. BuzzTune, thanks for the $2. In this for the long haul. Yet when I see an older person working, yeah, exactly. I hope they are working because they want to, not because they have to. Dude, they don't. They don't. They work because they have to. They work because they have to. They work because they have to. Who wants that? I don't want that. Like, I love my kids. I love my family. I love spending time with my kids and my family. I've got young kids. I'm trying to be honorable in what I'm doing with the acquisition of the software company. If something like that happens, who knows? Whatever life looks like, right? But that's where I sit there and I'm constantly like, will I, but for me, the way that I look at life is just, I want freedom, but I also don't want to sacrifice lifestyle in a life. I can have both. And I've done a lot of that work too. And you guys are doing a lot of that work too. Let's see. Uneducated economist, that ADU guy. Yep. Yeah, that ADU guy, Derek Sherrill, he's awesome. He's like a much more fit, better looking version with a shorter, more kempt beard than me. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I like watching his stuff too. He's a good guy. We were actually working on a collaboration and I just got buried in time. Let's see, wealth building journey. Cool. I'll follow up on both those guys on YouTube. Yeah, Simon, uneducated economist. He's awesome. In fact, Bittner, who's here, and Hyder, who's here, and there's a bunch of people that have watched him, that have come over to the channel, and they always ask great questions. They're always heavily invested. They know what's going on in the markets and understand that stuff. So yeah, very, very good. John, Texas. Oh, I'm sorry. REI Centers. What color interior paint do you go with? I use a Benjamin Moore, Stone Harbor gray. And I use it in a eggshell or satin sheen. And we use it in the Regal Select product line. That's what our standard is across the board. That's what we use everywhere. It's easy to manage, easy to take care of, easy to touch up. Very durable, spreads nicely when it comes to the amount of coverage that you get out of a can. It's very good. It's a very good product. And you can spend a ton of money on Sherwin-Williams. They got a good product. But the lies, and it's not lies, that's a horrible thing to say. The misnomer that Behr is the best paint, it's not true. It's the best selling paint because it's in a big box store, Home Depot. And so that's where most people go to buy paint. They don't got to go to a specialty store. But if you go, but try standing in that freaking line for 2 hours or trying to get paint ready for your painters. Like that sucks. So I like working with actual paint companies. So like Benjamin Moore is fantastic. I've used Sherwin. I just like the Benjamin Moore product and it gives me better value based on what I can buy it for. I buy that for less than what I buy Sherwin for. And my guys actually like the coverage. They like the product. Yep. So I like that stuff. John, Texas, when replacing flooring, do you leave carpet in the bedrooms? No, never. Nope. Never, 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 ever, ever. If my unit has carpet in it, it's because I have the tenant's still there and I haven't ripped it out yet. I never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever use carpet. Ever. The only time that we will use carpet is stairs, but never bedrooms, never nothing. So we do that on the stairs only because we have a very special formula where we use 8-pound pad and we do sections of flooring. So if something ever gets so super stained, we just rip it out. We just rip it out. Dan Caruso, great answer and insight. You're very welcome. I'm glad that helps. REI Centers, instead of area rug, I'm going with AstroTurf so the dogs don't ruin a rug. I mean, very specific, might not be loved by your tenants, but in your place, that's okay. Any recommendations on financial lending? Christopher Leroy, give me a little bit more detail there because that means obviously it's broad. And I want to give you a more precise answer so you don't spend a bunch of wasted time. REI Centers, 2 weeks to close, Matt, and then I'm getting into the course. I love it. Apparently, I can't spend big chunks of money during closing. No, that's very important. You bring up a great point. Anything usually over $1,000, they want to know what it was, where it was, and why it was spent. That can throw off DTI. They're looking for reasons to kill deals. Do it to it, my man. I'm telling you, you're doing the right thing. Don't spend any money when you're in the process of buying a house. Not in the process like shopping, but you've bought a house and you're about to close. Don't spend any money that you have to and don't absolutely have to. And literally become like the biggest miser on the planet and spend zero. If you can do it, do that. Like before you put something under contract, go out and buy the stuff that you need, like groceries for a month. Like don't show that expense. For 100% agree with you. Landlord Odyssey, do you make student rentals pay for their own heat and electricity? Absolutely, I do. Yep, I absolutely do. Love students in one way, hate them in another. So the most important thing is that you absolutely make them pay that electric bill. You absolutely make them pay all that stuff. Oh yeah, dude, I'll work with you. Ready on. I'll work with you. Cool. Yeah, I'll get back to you tonight. Um, did they accept my insulting offer? Not as of yet. Not as of yet. Not as of yet. But here's the thing. Like sometimes I'm a little bit like finger in the, as you can imagine, finger in the chest when I give somebody an offer. This one was just like, hey, listen, this is what it's worth to us right now, based on rates, based on the market, based on the amount of work that it needs, based on the things that we're going to do. This is what it's worth to us right now. So if you'd like to move forward, we'd be happy to. But let us know. And we'll see. And the no now doesn't mean no always. It doesn't. We've bought a deal that I loved. Went under, we're trying to get under contract. We were the highest bidder. They said they were going to sign the document. Some other jerk face came in behind us. They ended up getting the deal. And then the day before they were supposed to close, the deal fell apart. Yep. And they came back to us. I saved some money, but I still got the deal that I wanted. And I got it for, I don't know, $5,000 or $7,000 less. So it was good because that guy really needed to close at that point. And had I known exactly how much he needed to close, I probably would have put the screws to him a little bit more. But I tried to also consider that the person that I hated in the transaction wasn't the seller. Person I hated in the transaction was the liar of an agent. The problem is that in most states, agents that are just complete liars, it's so much work to get them reviewed and actually, go testify and have the conversations and do affidavits. It's so much work to get them to be managed and to essentially out them for their lies, even when you can prove it. I couldn't spend that amount of time making sure she paid, but she was a little liar. She was a little liar. She lied about what she did on the deal. She just lied. And so I was very happy to get that deal done. Funny enough is there was another deal that came up and I said no specifically on that deal because of her. Nope. And she actually talked to my agent. He goes, and that's only one of two agents I've ever basically blackballed where I was just like, I won't do a deal with them because they lie. What was the asking price and what was your offer? Good question. Asking price was, I'll give percentages because it's still an active deal. So let's say the asking price was $800,000. I offered in the sixes, low to mid sixes. Yeah, it was insulting. It was aggressive. JNYC. I'm currently switching careers and was wondering if it's smart to look for careers in the real estate field. Will it give me an edge to be immersed in that world as my 9 to 5? Probably silly question. No, I don't think it's a silly question because I think you'd be surprised at what my answer is. So like birds of a feather flock together, right? And so JNYC, if you're really in New York City, right? What happens with all the finance people? What happens with all the stockbrokers, right? Like they know about what's happening in companies and what's going on there. Like there's all these things like hush numbers and blah, blah, blah. That's why I don't invest in stocks largely, right? Is because I don't live on Wall Street and I don't know what a lot of the other people know and they know it first. And that's an edge for them. I think that depending on what your job is, depending on what the vertical is, I would always venture into something as a side hustle first to see if you like it, see if it gets your blood going, see if it's kind of cool, see if it works. And so that's what I kind of believe is I usually do. Like the real estate thing for me, believe it or not, is still a side hustle. It's not my primary source of income. It's still a side hustle. It makes more money than my other job. But anyway, it's not my only source of income. My only source. That's better said. Don, I will be 60 in January. I would not trade my real estate career for nothing, especially in the freedom it has afforded me. Don, that's exactly right. and Don's an OG, Don's an OG. He's built stuff. And I mean, he's been in it. Like, it's awesome. Even for me, I've been in it for 22 years. I started really young. And man alive, the only decision that most guys like me or an OG like Don would tell you is they wish they started sooner than they did. They wish they bought more than what they had. And, but hindsight's 2020, right? Hindsight's 2020. But yeah, for me, oh man, I wish there were a dozen deals in 2021 and 22 that I didn't do that I wished I'd done. And I said yes to a lot of deals. I did 18 deals in that time. And there were still more that I wanted to do. Still more. RES owners, looking forward to seeing you in the course. Yeah, that'd be cool. Good to have you in there. Kip SOS, damn, I am late. That's all right. Happy 4th to the family. Thanks, Kip. Nice Vegas Knights hat, buddy. Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to remember. Is this the inaugural one? Yeah, I think this is the inaugural one. So this I actually bought. What's really funny is so Vegas has always been my home away from home. And so when they announced these guys, I bought this hat. And it was out in Vegas. I was out there on a trip, bought it and just followed the Knights ever since. And they drafted one of the Bruins. The Bruins are my home team. But they drafted the kid that they got from the Bruins was Colin Miller, their defenseman. And then they also had gotten a kid, Riley Smith, who they just traded away, but he was one of the OG Vegas Knight players. And the Bruins had traded him to I think he'd gone to Dallas at that time. But yeah, love the Vegas Knights, love my Bruins too. It was a great season for me. Like, it was just, whether I was watching an East Coast game and the Bruins, setting the record for the greatest regular season of all time. I hate having to say it that way. And then the Knights, they had a great regular season, but then winning the cup, it was most amazing to me because my son's 5. And so I woke him up and we actually got to watch I let him watch the last 4 minutes of the game and watch them win the cup and skate around with the cup. And so he totally gets that. He's like, Dad, so then it's finished and he's going upstairs. And I was finishing up downstairs because it was late. It was, midnight or something. Yeah, horrible dad. I woke my kid up to watch that. And so I'm going into the kitchen and he walks up the stairs. And he goes up there and he opens up the bedroom door and goes, Ma, they won the cup. They won the cup. It's like, Samuel, stop that. It was kind of hilarious. And then I literally heard Ashley go, that's nice, Sam. That's nice. And then he's like, all right, see you in the morning. And he goes to bed. I'm like, kid's awesome. So yeah. So thanks for the Vegas Knights hat. But I've actually worn this hat at all 3 of my kids' births. No joke. Never washed it. But I've worn this hat at all 3 of my kids' births. For those of you who don't remember, that can kind of be a long time. So hair doesn't stand on its own. And yeah, so I'll wear my hat so I can pull it over my eyes too. Josh Burdick, thoughts on turnkey new builds with in-house lending and management? It all becomes the numbers. It all becomes the numbers, Josh. I don't usually like anything that's packaged like that because the barrier of entry is what makes something, give a greater return. If something's got a really easy barrier of entry, everyone else can do it. If something's got a high barrier of entry, it's usually got a much better return. That's why I buy undervalued assets with, bad landlords that don't take care of their units and tenants that usually are very often less than desirable. That model makes me a lot of money because most others can't do it. They need the loan to cash flow properly. My bank goes, yeah, we know the deal. You're going to buy it. You're going to go in there. You're going to fix a bunch of stuff up and then you're going to qualify the tenants, see if they're, worth keeping, not worth keeping, because they might not be worth keeping. Landlords, a lot like bad landlords, bad slumlords, they attract bad tenants a lot of times. That's kind of how it goes. Landlord Odyssey, BuzzTune. I think work is what keeps people, keeps older people alive and kicking. Yeah, hard work is the answer to everything. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Radion's a machine too. Jeremy Kirkwood. Hey guys. Hey Jeremy. Happy I get to be here today looking at an off-market triplex and quad this afternoon. Creative finance possible. I love it. Man, those deals are amazing when you can put them together. They're the best. They're the best. GMYC, great answer. Thank you. You're very welcome. No, Conan, my only regret is that I didn't keep everything I built. See, it's the same answer for all of us, like, guys that have been in the game longer. Don's been in it longer than I have. He's an OG. But we feel the same about that stuff. It's just like, gosh, you know what? Wish I had stayed. Membership will renew. Oh, no, it's not. Nope. Gonna cancel it. Never been. And no, it's not a gym. VR, how is your tenant lawsuit going? Great. I crushed on both of them. I kicked both their asses because they were liars and they were shitheads. Yep. In fact, one of them I got a judgment against because I countersued. I was just willing to let it go. And now I've got a second lawsuit going against him. Yep. Hey, you want to poke me in the chest and you want to, lie and you want to, try and make my life difficult? I am more than happy to oblige. I punch harder when in the courtroom. Yeah. Like that's just, I have no tolerance for that stuff. He was trying to be a bully and I just have no patience for that. I was willing to let him walk. And he insisted on continuing to do bad and unnatural things. And so it sounds good. I'll see you in court. Let's get it on. Mills Lane. Let's get it on. Just got sued. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. For the first time in 17 years, landlording mainly student rentals. Yeah, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like I went 21 years without getting sued, and I got sued once. And then the second one was the threat of a lawsuit where we basically kicked them in the teeth. And we're just like, yeah, let's go to court. Sounds awesome. Let's do this. P.S. We're going to sue you for damages too, because it's like we were willing to walk away. It's 100% your fault. You're the problem. Yep. Yep. W2 as a means to invest in a greater asset. Yep. Absolutely. Love that video you did as well. Yeah. Awesome. That's good. Yeah. Ready on stuff is good. Landlord Odyssey. Yeah. He's showing you brand spanking new investor in the last 24 months. And he's showing you acquiring assets, doing the work, identifying value. This is all how it's made, guys. This is all how it's done. Jeremy Kirkwood, this is my birthday hat. Nice. What type of countertops do you use in a bathroom? You can go a bunch of different ways. You can still do butcher block that's epoxied. You can. One of the things that I've done more recently that's worked out really well for me has been I've bought a lot of stuff off of Wayfair when it's on like closeout or clearance. Because I like buying the ones that I just bought 6 or 8. 20-inch vanities are kind of tough to find. And we always run into something in smaller apartments where we need a 20. And so they had a really nice 20-inch for $6.99. Nice, well-built. For whatever reason, it didn't sell well for them. Don't know why, but the comments on it were decent. It wasn't like, yeah, the thing showed up and it was a piece of crap. Nothing like that. And so I bought 6 of them because I think I paid $139 for them. $700 vanity that I paid $130 for. You can't buy anything for $130. And so that actually has a porcelain top in it. So one of the things that I would tell you is you can do the cabinet and the countertop approach. However, usually that base is going to cost you, I don't recommend it, because usually the base is going to cost you $300 to $400. That's without a top. Then you had a top, then you had a faucet, then you had a sink. I did that in a custom house that I did, one that I was building for my wife. And then ended up costing us about eight to $900 per vanity for a 36-inch. And I could have gotten something that was just as nice from Lowe's for probably $500 or $600 at the time. But I could have gotten something off a Wayfair that was like a closeout that might have been a $1,200 or $1,300 one for $300, $400. So I watch a lot of that stuff. That's what actually helped. That's what actually helped. So I've bought a lot of those. In the bathroom, you can still use granite. You can still, but again, the fabricate. So where you can make money on the granite side, and again, it depends on how adventurous you want to be, is you go to the different granite companies, you talk to them about remnants. A lot of times they'll do a remnant for anywhere from 30 to $50. If you are ambitious and you have time, you can learn how to cut that with a special saw blade, and you can learn how to polish it. Again, that's if you have time. Me, the much lower hanging fruit is doing butcher block and then sanding it and epoxying it, because the butcher block comes in 8-foot, 10-foot, and 12-foot pieces. And it also, it's wood, so it's more easily cut. And the epoxy ends up costing us between 20 and $25. And then it's just a pour, and you pour it on there, and then you get the bubbles out, and then you chip off the lower edge or sand it off the lower edge, but it looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, the videos are good. Ready on. Videos are good. Jeremy Kirkwood, I was sued 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Got a great lawyer who is willing to talk through cases free because we are restructuring our corporate structure with the law group. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, one of the videos that I'm going to have coming out, it was a long video because it was a lot of data to put together. We actually went through the 1.5 years that we had with the emergency rental assistance program. We went through that, and all the numbers, all the calls, the, repair issues, we went through it all because I wanted to know, did I make money or lose money? Because a couple people in the community said I made money hand over fist. And I was like, you don't know anything you're talking about. Oh, we know. You don't know shit. You don't know anything. What you could fit into a thimble and still have space for a finger. That's what you know. So that was a feeling because I run my business. But when we got into the numbers, broke it all down, that was across a couple dozen units. It was across an 18-month time period. Like, yeah, it was a lot, but we have all of that data. I'm going to do a video on it. The one that we have coming out this week is going to be on 30% returns on the deals that I'm doing. Yep. 30% returns. All right. It's 1 o'clock. Give me we'll close out in the next 5-10 minutes or so. So if you guys have questions, now's the time to give me those last few questions, and I'm happy to answer them. And I know that it takes a few seconds for people to then post the question. And then, if you are in the course, you need to vote on when we're doing the next bootcamp time-wise. I gave all you guys an option, and I just said, here are 3 times that we can do it. You let me know which one works best. And then the most people that pick the right one, that's what we do. REI Stoners, I keep seeing ads on Facebook for stand-up showers, shower or tub. Depends on the market. The reason why I say that is because tubs, if it's a non-college market, non-roommate market, and you're more renting to family, shower, if it is, more roommates, more single people, single family house, tub, apartments, usually shower. So it depends on usually those factors. Bobby Simpson is boot camp full. No, I think we have 2 spots left. 2 or 3 spots left. 2 or 3. Yeah. Yep. We have 2 or 3 spots left right now. And because we can, once we pick a time, we know that we'll lose a couple for that boot camp and they'll go to the next one. But yeah, right now, hard numbers, it's like, I think 2 spots. Buzzsoon, are there any nearby landmarks you try to avoid, like cemeteries? Nope. Good question. Nope, I don't. I don't avoid cemeteries. I don't. Nope. Landmarks. Firehouses. Firehouses, ambulance stations. I try and stay away from those. Train tracks, really, if you're close to a train track with an intersection where that conductor has to lay on that whistle. I like to be close to bus stops, not have them right outside the front door. Kid bus stops, I don't like those because a lot of times you can get tenants that, the kids are out there hooting and hollering and being loud. And your tenants are trying to sleep in the morning because they work second shift as bartenders. So yeah, that can be a challenge. Shower and master bath for kids. So TBS, that's true, shower and master bath for kids, but there's a lot of places that don't have 2 bathrooms. Like I'd say 60% of 50% of my units don't have 2 bathrooms. 50 or 60% of my units don't have a second bathroom. So if it's a unit that I rent out that's to families, it needs a tub. If it's a unit that's largely going to be like college students, roommate situations, shower. Yep. Yep. Do you stay away from bus routes? I don't stay away from the bus route. I stay away from the actual pickup spot, where there's like loitering around that or people waiting for it. But not off of bus routes. Ideally, I'm a block away. Ideally, because then I don't have to deal with the noise and they're still only ever a block away. So even when it's freezing in the wintertime, they still gotta get to the bus, still easily done. REI owners, where do you shop appliances? Usually I will look at the big box stores. And then I will find a local vendor and just ask them if they're willing to work with me to price match, because that service is far better than somebody at a big box store. Jackie, please remind me where I can go to take your course. So Jackie, if you go to lumberjacklandlord.com, there's a syllabus there. You can watch the syllabus video. If you want to just order the course, there's a link there to order the course. And then the course, 9 hours of the course is pre-recorded training that I teach. And then there is, and then after that, there's the boot camp, which you can also buy into if you choose, where we cover for 12 weeks, 11 weeks, we cover each of the different modules in the course, answering questions about that to make sure everybody understands that stuff. Then we have kind of a potpourri at the end of it where we just talk about whatever's on anybody's mind. And then usually 12th week, then we do just something where we talk about, just general stuff, getting people's feedback on the course, things we can do better, things we can do different, but also teaching a couple of new concepts if somebody says, hey, I'd love to learn on this. But those boot camps, they're 12 weeks. So we do it once a week for 12 weeks. So it's immersive. Then you also get access to the recordings if for some reason you couldn't get access, couldn't make it a given night. And yeah, get your questions asked and answered and all that good stuff. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Chester, for posting that. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's how long is it for? The actual recorded stuff where I'm teaching is 8 or 9 hours. The special events that you get access to, those are starting in the next couple of weeks. We've already done a couple. We had one with my plumber. I actually posted that to the main channel though. And then we've got a banker, an underwriter, and an attorney. Sounds like the start to a joke. A banker, an underwriter, and an attorney walk into a bar. And then I've got and then we've got like specials, like if you're in the boot camp, we'll also, you get access to our cabinet buying program. So yeah, so that's all there. Matt, I think you've mentioned you don't like being on a street with a double yellow line. Yep, that's a good call. I don't love double yellow line streets, but I have done them. The only way that I do them though is if I gut rehab the place and I put in my window insulation package, because I don't want you to have to hear it. I don't want you to feel it. I don't want you to hear it. So that's what's helpful. JMYC, do you stay away from bus routes? Nope, we talked about that one. Jeremy Cougar, some pump battery backup or no? Yes. Yep. We have 3 of them and 2 of them have a backup. So yeah. Yep. If it's one of those things where you can fill a basement full of water, 3-4 inches and take out a heating system, the battery backup for a couple $100 is about as cheap as you're going to make it, right? TBS, ROI to make them 3.2s not make sense in your market. Yeah. SFRs don't make sense in my market. Yeah. Yep. SFRs make no, SFRs are a way to get poor in my market. Yep. You can't make any real money. The level of service that you have to provide is even more than what you have to on a landlord building, on like a duplex or a triplex. It's wrought with risk. It's wrought with risk. In my market, in markets that have high property taxes and don't have an income tax. So here, Florida, Texas, nope. Single families, not interested at all. I hate the numbers. The numbers, you're eking out a return. And if you ever have a repair, you're going to lose money. Largely speaking. Yeah. And so, so no on the conversions. Landlord Rossi, yep. WO line. Jackie, thank you. I can't tell you how much I have learned when you were on YouTube. Valuable. Oh, thanks, Jackie. I'm glad. I really appreciate that. Yeah. The course is kind of live stream on the most aggressive steroid trip you could be on, because it's 8 or 9 hours of nothing but data, nothing but process, nothing but efficiency. This is how you do it. This is how I've done it. This is how I built it. This is how you manage it. And then the boot camp, it takes all of that stuff and it goes even next level, because then it's discussion with all your peers. We had people in the class that owned 0 units, 0. We had people in the class that had 70 units, 70. And everybody has a chance. We always talk through things. It's conversational. In fact, they've actually set up a group where moving forward, they'll still do once a month calls, just hanging out with each other. And I'll attend some of those where I can. So it really creates that camaraderie. And that's what I love most about the boot camp. And Redion could speak to that. Dividend Dave could speak to that. Corby could speak to that. Ned Talks could speak to that. Anna Kay could speak to that. The camaraderie that you get within the group, because now you hear each other's stories. Now you're pulling for each other and you want to hear what's going on in their markets and how it happens. They just got 17 relationships that they never would have had otherwise. And they got them with real estate investors that are investing and trying to do the same things that they are. That day, they're doing exactly the same thing. That's why I built the boot camp the way that I did. And quite frankly, why I priced it the way that I did. It's got to go up because it's costing me an absolute fortune to have all of that stuff edited and cleaned. And also the time. Like I say that it's an hour. We didn't have one live stream. We didn't have one boot camp that was less than 2 hours. And in fact, we had 2 that were over 3. So it's a lot there. There's a lot there. BuzzTune. I have so much notes from the course, and the downloadable content will be with me for the rest of my life. Amazing value. Need to go through it again and more notes for sure. BuzzTune, thank you so much for that compliment. I really appreciate that. Literally, when I was trying to deliver that stuff, I was like, man, this is going to be fire hose. But then I was like, wait a second. It's recorded. Watch it again. There's a couple of people that have actually watched it. They've told me 3 and 4 times. And they're like, every single time I'm still picking up another thing. And again, that's 22 years of experience that I jammed into 9 hours. And so there is more coming too. The stuff that we're doing for the entire course, not just the boot campers. That banker one will not just be the boot camp. The underwriter one will not just be the boot camp. The attorney one will not just be the boot camp. That will be anybody that's in the course. And the reason I wanted to do those was because I wanted you guys hearing from people the inside scoop that I can't put on YouTube, that I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to speak freely, because I've told them it will only be in a small subset of a small group. It will not be made public. But there's like the attorney talks about the LLC thing, the attorney, and her story will blow you away. It's awesome. It's awesome. That will be in, the banker is going to be, I think, the end of July, early August. The underwriter, I think, is end of July. The attorney is, I think, end of August. We're finishing up dates, but we're kind of ballparking. Hey, Santi, good to see you, buddy. See, Santi came in there. Love a good one-way street. Yeah, that's for sure. Yep. Tammy Robinson, do you find a lot of your deals through a wholesaler? Not a lot. If so, how do you find your wholesalers? Good question, Tammy. I don't find a lot, but I do find some. The key is I look at the wholesalers that are local in my area. I just look up wholesalers near me. And I reach out to them. I say, hey, I make sure they have my buy box. That's what I do. And I've gotten a number of wholesale deals that way. It worked out really, really well. Yeah. I've done a number of wholesale deals that came out really good. One wholesale deal, everybody laughed at me because I paid the wholesaler 50 grand and I didn't technically have to. That deal will likely make me $500,000. Looks like that 50 grand was worth it. Painted cabinets, yes. Thinking of renting a spray gun, sure. Make sure that you find a way to stamp the cabinet to exactly the opening that it goes to. Number one, that's the most important thing. They make these little wood stamps, but make sure that you found some way to make sure that you know that that's the door in it unequivocally. Otherwise, it'll look janky when you go to put it back. Depends on what you're sanding. It depends on a lot of things. You don't paint it with regular paint because it will get gummy. But yeah, there's a bunch of ways to do it. Yep. There's a bunch of ways to do it. Done it. It's been good. We usually use it in less expensive units where we're just looking for clean and safe and dated. We won't do that in an upgraded unit or in a gutted unit. We won't do that. We'll go brand new cabinets. Landlord Odyssey, RAS Sterners, I'll be painting cabinets in my new place as well. Yeah. Yep. We've done it before. We just did some. Comes out good. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes paint will come off when they usually, like, no matter what paint you use, if they scrub them, you'll get white paint that comes off on the sponge. No joke. It's crazy. Jeremy Kirkwood, also thinking about that, stoners, wonder if it's worth the time being that I mostly paint indoors. I just did a kitchen that I paid to have painted. Sanding it down, sanding down the faces, all the doors, changing out the hardware, blah, blah, blah. I think it cost me $2,300 is what that cost me. With the new cabinet deal, I could have done it for $4,000, $1,700 difference. No brainer. I would never paint cabinets again. Nope. And that's why I went and I bought that cabinet franchise, because it just made no sense. Being able to do that at, like I said, $4 grand instead of 2,300, and the difference in quality, you don't think I'm going to make at least an extra $100 a month for a brand new kitchen? I just drastically improved the product. So when we did that, game on. Like that, I'm going to make that probably had a return on investment of maybe 6 or 7 months. It wasn't even close. It was awesome. KS, love this education. Awesome. I appreciate that. Found an opportunity, single family cosmetic repairs only. Cool. Infested with bed bugs. That's okay. Some mold. Okay. Removal of old elder belongings. Okay. Would you pass? Nope. Nope. It's all the numbers. It's all the numbers. I would talk to a bed bug company. The way that I like to get rid of bed bugs and cockroaches is I like to bake them. I like to kill them that way. I don't like sprays. I don't like sprays. So usually what I'll do is I'll ask them, hey, I want to do this with I want to do the bake model. And that can cost $1,500 to $2,000 because they have to get the unit above 120 degrees. But then that kills them. That kills all their eggs. That kills everything. But then you're done. Because I don't like to spray. So I've done that. Thankfully, I've only had to do that twice. That wouldn't make me pass. Mold, depending on what and how big, mold doesn't make me pass. I did a mold house that was the worst mold house you'll ever see. Literally stalactites hanging in the basement off of the hung ceiling. No joke. Nasty, nasty, nasty. But yeah, still did it because I got them to reduce the price 100 grand, and it cost me less than 10 to get all the work done. They didn't want the risk. Sure, I'll take the risk. Sounds good. So I would not pass. Removal of elder belongings, no. And a lot of times you can find places and you can say, listen, you get to come and you get to take all of it, but you have to take all of it. And a lot of times they'll do it for free. Or they will charge you a couple of $100. So I've done that. I bought a house from an estate, bunch of elder belongings. They left all the furniture in there, the whole nine. We did an estate sale and blew out a bunch of the stuff. The other stuff, we were just like, yep, come and get it. That's simple. When you take off the hardware, put the number in that spot. Yep. With a Sharpie and cover it with painter's tape. Yep. That can work too. Yep. Covers with the hardware replaced. Yep. Yeah. So the only challenge, so I've done that and I had it get me because the painter was like, oh, well, no, I want this perfect. And I was like, you didn't see that there were numbers underneath there? He goes, yeah, I was wondering what that was. I was like, and so guess what? That was brutal. Every single door, they would put the piece back on, and every single door they had to go back. I mean, it took hours and hours and hours to get those doors back in the right spot. So as always, guys, it's been a fantastic weekend with you guys. Hope you enjoy our amazing holiday, 4th of July, where our amazing country was born. Definitely going through it a little bit, but yeah, but have an amazing 4th. Oh, hey, Matt, any recommendation on getting rid of popcorn ceilings in bad shape? There's a bunch of ways that I've done it. I've done it with Luan and then strap over it to just cover it. I have demoed the ceiling. The big thing is I got to test them and you got to see what you're knocking down. Might be asbestos, might not. A lot of times, believe it or not, with popcorn, and I'm not recommending this, you got to make sure that you're doing it safe and make sure code and all that other stuff. But believe it or not, if you just soak it, you can usually just take a big wide mud trowel and then just literally scrape it off. You just got to make sure that the stuff is safe and that there's not some bad chemical in there. Yeah. Or asbestos or anything like that, or lead. But yeah, usually you can just soak it and then you can use that, a big, wide, broad edge putty knife, like what they do mud and tape with sheetrock. And then you can just scrape it right off. It's got a fine enough and flexible enough edge. You might put a couple digs in the ceiling, but all in all, you can then just patch those and then you don't have to re-sheetrock. If all the material is safe, that's usually the least expensive option. So guys, have a fantastic week. You'll see the video this week on 30% returns and how I got it. Show you the numbers. Yep. Try water scrape off. There you go. TBS 24 nailed it. Yeah, there's that video coming this week. And then boot camp. If you are in the course and you're trying to take the boot camp, like I said, couple of spots left. Most importantly is selecting the time. I want to do later on the East Coast and earlier on the West Coast. That way everybody West Coast can attend. Also something, try to be during the week, so it's later at night. So, kids are in bed, blah, 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 blah. But excited to have that. Yeah, you can also plaster over it. Sometimes that can be a problem depending on how thick everything was, because like sometimes that plaster, depending on how thick you have to put it on to get rid of the design, can be a problem. But yeah, plaster, something called a half moon, really very easy pattern to do and something you can probably do yourself. So have a great week, everybody. Happy Independence Day, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.